Do you ever have that feeling that you're not alone, somehow being watched? Yeah, I've got that feeling this morning, and joined obviously today by Chelan, who not even really sure she's awake yet, but she's here in the studio at the moment, and we're going to be playing a little game with all of you today about famous quotes that we very often misquote, misunderstand, don't attribute to the right person or source, maybe even take completely out of the context it was intended to represent. So put on the brakes, grab a cup of coffee or whatever you might be drinking, and join the conversation this morning because it is time for Coffee Breaks with Steve. I want to get on to our topic, which means that we're going to bring back my guest co-host today, Chelan. Chelan Shepherd is here.
I dreamt about this last night.
You dreamt about?
I dreamt about being on Coffee Breaks. I dreamt that
I don't
Dustin
blame
and
you.
I haven't seen my hair yet. This is fantastic.
It's amazing.
I dreamt that Dustin and I were watching The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman, a very young Dustin Hoffman. I haven't seen that movie in years.
And don't get into too much detail here. Is it possible that there will be a reference to that movie in our?
But I thought there was a point in the movie in my head where he said, "Mrs. Sicily, you're trying to seduce me," and I went, I need to remember that for Coffee Breaks because I would have gone with Mrs. Robinson.
This is going to be fun. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We've got some slides up here. And Carissa, if you can take off the static banner for me so that we're not covering up any of the slides when we're doing this. And in a moment, we're going to put up a different crawl on here. As you see it there now. And let's pull the other banner. There we go. So just to make sure we can see everything. So here's what we're going to do. As we get to each, we've got different slides that will introduce a part of a famous quote. And what we want you to do, each slide is numbered. So we want you to include the number as you put in your guess or your knowledge of how to complete that quote. In some cases, it will also say who said the quote. If you think you know that, include that in your answer. Always remember that each answer that you put in the chat needs to include the slide number that it's associated with. So we make sure we're crediting you properly. But we're looking at the fact that there are a lot of quotes that we think we know, but we have learned them and we repeat them incorrectly, or it just become common practice as they've gone up in memes and stuff that they're not quite correct, or they get attributed to the wrong source, the wrong person, or the wrong document, the wrong book or movie or whatever it might be. And then sometimes we think we know the entire quote or we know what it means. And the context is wrong because we have it wrong. We don't know what it was meant to really say. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're just going to go ahead and go through these one at a time and you'll kind of see how it works. But the first one, and it's slide number 1. So this your answer here. And we're going to stall a little bit as we're talking about it because we know there's a slight delay. And don't look these up. You can't Google these. If you want to play, let's honor system, but just go from what you think you know. Don't start going on a side screen and doing research. Be honorable. But this is one. It's from the movie. We know it's from the movie Casablanca. Casablanca, a famous classic. It's on the top 100, at the very top of the top 100 all-time movies.
Have you ever been to Casablanca?
I've never been there. And you know, I mean, if you go there, you have to be in black and white. You have to be grayscale.
A lot of makeup.
A lot of makeup, and the lighting has to be correct, and
but nice suits.
And you're gray. But this is a famous quote, and finish the quote, play it blank, and then what is the remainder of the quote, and which character in the movie or actor, you can say either one if you think you remember the character's name or you know the actor's name who you think said it. And let's see if we're getting some answers on here. I see a couple, but go ahead. I see there's a little bit of a delay, further delay. What's her name said it? There's a little bit of a delay, which makes me think that there are some people who are out there on their phones, maybe quickly doing a Google search. Okay, so
Or people
I
who have
see.
not seen Casablanca, and you're
Yeah,
going,
that's true. They're going, what? I have no clue.
play it
Remember the show we did it
fast,
at? I
play
was
it
with the
loose.
quote. Yeah. Play it again, Sam. Again, Sam. Okay, I see Rick. Yeah, Rick Venturi said, and of course, Rick Venturi's going to say that it was Rick. Play it, Kim Baker. Play it like a mouse. Oh,
That was
yeah,
cat.
that's for
It's
the
a moderator
cat.
cat.
That's, but she's attributing it to cat.
She is.
Yeah,
And
I get that. I see what she
you're
did
correct.
there. And I see, some up there. It's Ingrid. I think that's that says coffee breaks with Steve, but we have the director and moderator cat on here that answer things. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide, which tells you what we typically think it is. We typically think that it is that the quote is "Play it again, Sam." And most people attribute it to Humphrey Bogart's character, Rick Blaine, saying to Sam, "Play it again, Sam." Well, play it again. Do you think that's actually the quote?
Now that I've seen the comments, I feel like no, but my brain tells me it's Senior Humphrey Bogart. Play it again, Sam. But I know that's not right.
Play it, Sam. Play it. It's spoken by Ingrid Bergman's character, Ilsa Lund.
So demanding.
There is a separate quote that Humphrey Bogart's character does say, "You played it for her, play it for me, play it, Sam." But it's not "Play it again, Sam." Corey Ann made a comment about a play that was actually written by Woody Allen that's called "Play It Again, Sam." And that's why a lot of people think that it was just "Play It Again, Sam," is because of the play. But this is the actual quote. All right. How'd you do on that one? I saw some people who came relatively close, either in terms of the quote or in terms of the character. Let's go on to number 2. Now, we're not referring, this is also where people might get confused. We're not referring to the movie Apollo 13 here. We're referring to the actual event in history where
that's the only one I know.
Where the Apollo 13 mission actually, thank you, tink, encountered an issue while they were on their way to the moon. And so what is the completion of this quote and who actually said it? Okay. And we're not looking for an actor. We're not looking for an actor here. But you can answer as best you can. So I can give people a chance. Carla says we're screwed. Houston, we're screwed. Yeah. What is the quote? I'll give you another few seconds. But I remember when this happened. I think I was in 8th grade. Okay. Let's see. Houston, we have Kim Baker is having a lot of fun with this. And Kim, that's what I'm looking for. I want you to have fun.
I see the theme you're going for there, Kim.
Yeah.
I approve.
Yeah, and what do we expect? What else do we expect from Kim? Let's see. I saw, who was it up there had looking? Yes, I'm correct. Let's see. There. Son of the, I love "We're Screwed." There's a problem. We've had a problem. Jim Lovell. We have a problem from an astronaut on Apollo 13, Houston. We've had a problem up here, Lovell. Okay, so this is what most often comes up. Houston, we have a problem. As spoken by James Lovell. James Lovell, the commander of Apollo 13. And that's a picture of Jim Lovell actually there during the Apollo 13 mission. And you can see looks like he's holding his thumb up like, let's see if we can make this happen. He looks a little bit concerned, but these guys were professionals. They trained for a lot of different scenarios. They didn't actually train for what happened here, which was that the service module that powered the entire capsule going to the moon, essentially half of it blew up, but that wasn't really supposed to happen, and they were losing oxygen. Well, here was what actually was said. So it started with they started their cryogenic tanks, and they had an explosion, and alarms started going off, and everything shook. And Jack Swigert, who was the command module pilot, said, "I believe we've had a problem here." Houston responded with, "Say again, please." And then the one that we often misquote it, and I saw it correctly here, is Jim Lovell responding and saying, "Houston, we've had a problem." Not "Houston, we have a problem." Although it was still going on, what he actually said was, "We've had a problem."
Was it Tom Hanks though?
You'd have to ask Jim Lovell that if he was Tom Hanks at that moment. Everybody drink. All right. And I saw that we had some correct answers there. So I think we're having fun with this, and we're in some cases doing well. Here's a historical quote. This is number three. Number three. And Winston, we know who it's attributed to. It's Sir Winston Churchill. I have nothing to offer but blood.
Is that one of the pictures you did? That
Yeah, that's one of the pictures that I photoshopped. Well, this one, not in this case, but I used this picture to Photoshop your face into it in another occasion.
Called it Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill.
It's nobody's finest hour.
No, but what is the completion of this quote, do you think? And you have to say it in Churchill's voice. I have nothing to offer but
blood, sweat, and tears. I honestly don't know.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
I have no idea.
What do we see coming up here?
And guts.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Okay. Your blood.
Your blood.
Cat attempt to clip claws.
Yeah.
Doing attempt to clip claws. I'm saving all these comments.
And half of a cigar.
What is the quote? So yes, so this is what typically.
Oh.
I have nothing to offer but blood, sweat, and tears.
I've never heard this one.
Now stop and think about it for a minute. Of why maybe this isn't the correct quote. Maybe it is, but why might it not
Winston Churchill would never cry.
And
he did not.
And the man didn't sweat. Okay, he was like cool as a cucumber. There is a famous music group in the 70s, particularly called Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and so sometimes people pick up on something commonly in culture. So what Churchill actually said during this particular speech was
blood.
I'm looking at serviceman. A cat mistakenly knocked over an oxygen tank while trying to find a comfy spot to ride to. Oh, jeez. All right, let's get back to this. Number three. I have nothing to offer but blood, sweat, and tears. What Churchill actually said was, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. I have nothing to offer. There's a lot. That's a lot to offer right there. Yeah.
Good on you, Winston.
I mean, now the question was he offering his own blood, toil, tears, and sweat, or offering this,
this guy over
Yeah,
here?
it's hard to say.
All
right. How are you doing on this?
I'm doing horribly.
Right. Okay. Kathy Garlick. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Lucretia McKeevill. Yeah, because that was Blood, Sweat, and Tears song. One of their songs was Lucretia McKeevill. That's good, Kathy. I like that. That is a lot. That's a lot to offer. Number four, famous movie quote. How does this quote start? We remember Chief Brody saying this the first time he sees the shark close up in the boat, and he backs into the cabin where the other crew members are, and he says,
"We're gonna need a bigger boat."
He says that.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. He doesn't. We're gonna need a bigger boat. That's what my brain says. You don't think that's the correct quote?
I'm questioning everything now. I'm questioning reality.
Are you questioning? I'm questioning my life.
Hair.
Okay. Questioning my heritage. I'm questioning my life. I'm questioning my purpose in life at this point.
But I don't question that's a great screenshot.
That is a great screenshot.
It takes me right back to the quote I misremember. All right there.
Kathy, let's see what we got here. We need a bigger boat. We're gonna need a bigger boat. You're gonna need a bigger boat. I'm gonna sit in a bigger boat. Quat. That's great. So what you most often see people quote is, "We're gonna need a bigger boat," by Chief Martin Brody in Jaws.
I said that.
Yeah. And the actual quote, and a few people got it right.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
He backs in and his comments. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's better.
I mean, they're all on the boat together, but he's talking to Quint, the boat owner and captain, when he's seen the size of that. You're gonna need a bit. And by the way, another trivia point to that is that was not a scripted line. He ad-libbed that line
because they didn't call cut, and you're like,
yeah, and he had this revelation at that moment. It's just there are times that you may be in a movie and you just have a revelation and you got to speak it out loud. And if the director's smart, they're going to say, that fits. Put it in there. All right, that was number 4. We have a few more to go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a historical quote.
A little cat is a dangerous thing.
Well, don't get ahead of Kim Baker here. Alexander Pope. What is the quote? What is the context? What is the quote? A little blank is a dangerous thing.
Knowledge, I assume. I don't know that I know this. A little
Okay.
knowledge is a dangerous thing. Is that a
Okay.
thing?
All right. That's and I think I'm gonna see what some other people
A little
put in.
gnome is a dangerous thing. Look
A
at
little
these.
gnome
He
can
will
be.
cut you.
He could in fact cut you because he has a little horn in his hand. There's some kind of a container in his hand to cut you with. I see courage has popped up here. A little catnip is a dangerous thing. Oh man, Kim, I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am that you are with us today, because your approach to playing this game is leaving me with tremendous smiles. Wait, tink, everybody drink. All right, any more answers to this one? Any more thoughts? A little knowledge. Kim is on fire. A little fire. A little fire is a dangerous game too, so Kim should be careful. A little. So this is what typically gets quoted. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Was it Gandalf? I think if the quote is right, it's just attributed to the wrong person.
No, it actually was Alexander Pope. But what Alexander Pope, this was actually a quote that was included in an essay of his called an essay on criticism. And he was actually criticizing those who often criticize others. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring. Their shallow draughts intoxicate the brain, and drinking largely sobers us again. And what he was doing there was he was poking fun at those who think they know everything enough to criticize someone else, and they really don't know. They have just enough learning to be dangerous.
Yes.
You know, it's that idea of I know just enough to be dangerous. So no, you can understand why people say knowledge.
Just enough.
But they have learned just enough, and that was Alexander Pope's actual quote. A little learning was a cat.
A little learning was a cat.
A little learning was a cat. That could turn into a poem or a song. Oh, yeah. Okay, number 6. This is another famous movie quote, and we say this one all the time.
Can I say my thought?
So you can say, just give people just a second here to Kathy. You see that, Kathy? Blah, 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 Pitbull. Yeah. That's
always the correct answer. Everybody drink.
What were you? Okay, go ahead. What is your thought here?
I think without thinking, we're not in Kansas anymore, but I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
Okay, and I see both represented here, what you just said.
Yeah.
And then Georgie, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Toto
I don't
come
think we're
into
it? Well, Toto's in the picture, so that's
Toto?
a decent question.
Toto, are we
And
in Kansas
I do believe
anymore?
we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
What if you had a tattoo of Toto?
So what people I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Okay.
I switched it. We're not in Kansas. Is Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore? You broke it.
Oh, I was trying to move the wrong one.
Trying to remove things that don't move. I have a feeling we're not in
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas.
You're making stuff up now.
No.
You're just making stuff up.
Go watch the movie. Go watch the scene.
I
actually went back. Not only did I look these up in many cases, but if they were from movies, I actually went in and found the scene just to make sure. Because in some cases, that wasn't the correct quote. Wasn't what I thought it was either. I'm not immune from the misquotes.
And you were there.
Oh,
you were all in color. It was all so beautiful.
It's a lot better.
It was a lot better.
So Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Is the correct quote. All right, number 7.
Toto.
This is another movie quote. We know this is, the Queen and Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. And by the way, it is dwarfs, not dwarves. It's not dwarves. It's dwarfs.
Dwarfs
that is
are
correct.
very
What is
upsetting.
Give people a minute before you answer, but what do you think is the famous quote here? Blank. Who is the fairest of them all? Okay. What comes before that?
Snodgrass.
Livgren is not in Kansas anymore. Alan, that's good. Okay, I see we have a magic mirror on the wall.
But the way we
mirror on the wall. Mirror on the wall. Magic mirror. So we have a couple of different thoughts here about what's going. Not a real quote. Everyone knows cat is fairest. Mirror on the wall. Any other guesses? Cat on the wall.
Naughty mirror on the wall. Snodgrass on the wall. I don't know. I know we've talked about this on the show before, so I kind of know. I know this one. Yeah, we always say "mira, mira" on the wall. That's not
But
what
the
she
queen
says.
actually says,
"Magic mirror on the wall."
she's
Like the mirror's
acknowledging
gonna
the
go,
fact that it's
"Who,
magic.
me?
Yeah. So
What?
she has to have the right mirror in there.
Which one of us?"
All right, that was number 7. Number 8. This is a famous inspirational and business quote. Now, I know we talked about this one recently, so let's hold back for a minute and let people answer this one, because this is one that we use a lot in just, most of us have probably used this at some point, either in an inspirational setting, a business setting, or as a customer when we're trying to get our point across. Because we're not happy about something that happened in a store
Now,
or a
director
restaurant.
dog, moderator cat, work on director dog.
Yeah.
The customer is Snodgrass. I'm going with that.
Let's see, which is wrong. The customer is always right, which is wrong. And I do see, please, yes, Corianne remembered, please remember to include the number, the slide number, because there is a slight delay here. I don't want to be moving on or getting them mixed up. Because what if you said that, that the Queen in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was saying the customer is always right on the wall? That just doesn't fit.
Well,
so it could. Actually, it could. The customer is an excellent scratching post, is Kathy Garlick. The usually obnoxious. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Almost sometimes right. Coffee breaks is in matters of taste. So let's look at what we typically think this one is.
Always
right. The customer is always right. The reality is, when this was originally quoted, and there are slight variations actually. By Alexander Pope. The customer is always right in matters of taste, and some of them do include and preference. And the idea here is, as Corianne, who has worked in retail for some time, understands the customer is not always right. There are times the customer is incorrect when it comes to certain things having to do with the product itself or with service. But the point of this was to get across that if the customer says, I want that green polka dot dress, and you as the salesperson is going, that's kind of a tacky looking dress. If that's what they want, they're right. Their taste and preference in terms of what they want to buy, if you buy that particular item, it's more on sale. I mean, you can share certain things with them to try to help the customer. Do you know that this brand actually has the same, but it's the plain label, and it costs less.
Just as tacky as the other brand.
It is just as tacky. But the customer is not always right, but the customer is always right in terms of their own preferences, their own taste, right? So that's important to remember, regardless of which side of the equation you're on. All right, number 9. This is another one that actually I give moderator Kat credit for bringing this one to my attention recently, but we use this one a lot too. What is the quote?
I was there for part of this conversation.
And what is the context? So, we say jack of all trades
is actually probably named James.
Yeah, jack of, but if your company is called Jack of all trades, hey, that could actually probably is a company called out somewhere, some handyman company or handy person company.
Yeah.
How's this one go? Don't forget to number it. Number 9, and master of none. Georgie's got that up there, is bad at most things. I've used that to refer to myself because of my background and training. I often felt that I was a jack of all trades. And as we often say,
master of none.
Okay, is that the quote as we usually finish it? I see that with a few people. Anybody else want to answer? And do you agree or disagree with this? As a master of dog, always cleans the toilet. Yeah, jack of all. By the way, I am in our family. I have been for years primary bathroom cleaner.
Me too.
I'm the one who typically does scrub the toilet. So that comes along with being a jack of all trades, I guess. Here is the actual quote. And who do you think, by the way, who do you attribute this to? Do you have any idea who may have originally coined the phrase? A jack of all trades.
I didn't until moderator Kat told me.
Yeah. So this is number 9. Here's the actual. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. I think it should be of one rather than on one, but that may have been a typo on my part. But it's actually from Shakespeare, and the idea was here that rather than saying that was a bad thing, which it's often used to say that somebody isn't skilled at a particular thing.
Shakespeare. He didn't write it.
Now the sources I looked at said that Shakespeare actually wrote it. And he was talking about the fact that it could be beneficial in some cases, rather than thinking that you had mastered a particular thing, to have versatility. It was actually applauding versatility. So that was the idea.
Moderator Cat might be wrong then.
Well, Moderator Cat may have more information here.
Don't ask him anything.
I will not be taking questions. Thank you, Moderator Cat. All right, that was number 9. You have a few more to go. Oh, here's one now. This is Ben Franklin, right? We know that. We know who said this, and we quote this one a lot. A penny saved is what?
A penny earned.
Okay. See what some other people have to say about that one.
Penny saved is.
Hey, Georgie, don't kick yourself with being off. Georgie said, "Oh man, I was off." We learn quotes a certain way. I learned most of these a certain way. Part of the reason that I looked up particular quotes was I thought, these are common and I've learned them a certain way. What is the truth here?
A penny saved is worth less than a penny, technically, the way the inflation works.
Penny saved is kind of a waste of time because they're not worth very much. They just kind of hang around. You just put them in jars. A penny saved is money in the bank. Penny saved is a penny earned. Penny saved is, Kim, you didn't put the official number next to that. So was that number 10, a penny saved is edible? I'm just curious, Kim. I'm not penalizing you for not putting the number in front of it. It's just that I've mentioned that multiple times, and it is in the crawl at the bottom of the screen, but you're not in trouble for not putting a number in front of that necessarily. Penny saved is to not penalize the cat lover. All right. Sorry. Penny saved is all I got. I like that one too, Kathy. Penny saved is a penny earned. We go around, we quote that. And the actual quote by Ben Franklin is not that far removed from it. But again, it's a matter of semantics. Penny. My friend Penny. I saved her once.
With the
is a penny maneuver. Got. And again, part of this is, how did people talk back in the 1700s in Pennsylvania?
Dumbly.
They didn't say earned, they said got. And what he was saying, it's the same thing. Ultimately, it's very similar, because did you earn it or did you just get it?
Do you get it?
I don't know. Do you get it? But again, we're not necessarily talking about the semantics or the intent. It's what was the actual quote? A penny saved is a penny.
Ben is looking at me. Like
he's
really throwing some shade.
Do you see the look on his face? Like, yeah, you guys better get a clue. All right. We're getting closer to the end now. This one's a biblical quote.
I do know this one.
All right. So let's give people a minute. This is number 11. Number 11. Ben was a cat. Moosin up there. So what is the root of all evil according to the Bible? Let's give people a minute to see if they can get this one. There are a lot of things that have evil associated with them, but what is the root? What is the root? Seen some answers pop up here for number 11. We'll give it another few seconds.
I like Corianne's comment about number 10.
Let me go up to that one here. Where is she?
Got means you could have stolen it, Ben.
Yeah. Penny saved is penny got. I got it. You had it. I got it. It's mine.
Look
Godders keepers. All right. So number 11. Anger is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Bible guy, moderator cat. All right. And there are versions that include the all sorts or all kinds. And this particular one, we often say money is the root of all evil. I've heard that quoted from the pulpit as part of sermon, saying money's evil.
And you went, objection.
Objection overruled.
You stood up.
For the love of money is the root of all evil. And this particular one I put specifically is from the King James Version, because it does not include the all sorts or all kinds. Some of the translations do. For the love of money, our pastor up in Oregon used to put it this way: it's not bad to have money. It's bad if money has you. right? If it's something, if that becomes where your focus is, the love of money
Mic drop.
is the root of all evil, or all sorts of
Alan
evil.
did a mic drop.
Listening to moderator cat is the root of all evil. Thank you, Alan. Yeah. So several of you got that one right. So thank you, and thank you for your. Oh, here's another one from a movie. We know from. We know what the movie is. I'm not going to say the name of the movie because you may want to figure out for yourself, because it may be tied to the second part of this one. Number 12. Something is a box of chocolates. Something, a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
It's Jim Lovell.
Jim Lovell, while he was on Apollo 13, Houston. We had a box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get. In fact, that may have been Houston's response. We've had a problem. Well, you had a box of chocolates up there in that spaceship. You never know what you're going to get. And yours was an explosion. No, what is the quote for number 12? Number 12. The love of money is a box of chocolates.
It's sign language. It's not. Yeah. It's not a dirty. It's sign language.
Life is like a box of chocolates. Mama says life is like a box of chocolates.
Knock over a box of chocolates.
Knock over a box of chocolates. Knock over a box of chocolates by any cat who's ever existed. Look, there's a box of chocolates up there on the counter. Life is like a box of chocolates. Forrest Gump. And we can hear him. We can actually hear the character saying that, right? If we repeat the quote, we almost have to do it in the voice.
In the voice.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And I see several people have attributed it. Mama says life is like Forrest's mom. Okay.
That's still not. I feel like.
Because she's attributing, to mom because Mama says.
I know,
okay.
But and even that I feel like is off. That's what we think. Or life is like, or Mama says life is like a box of chocolates. But I feel like it's got another twist to it. Mama always said. It's mentioned twice.
So Forrest says, Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And the actual phrase where she says it, when he's talking to her before she dies, and he says, what's my purpose in life? What's my life? And she says, Forrest, life is a box of, she doesn't say like. When she says life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're going to get. So variations of the line are spoken by two characters in the movie, and they're not, neither one are exactly what we often quote, just because, again, what we are accustomed to. Yeah. All right. This is the one you brought up.
Okay, but it should be Mrs. Sicily.
Number 13, movie quote. And we know it's spoken by Dustin Hoffman's character. We're not trying to hide that. And there's a picture of him staring at the leg lamp from A Christmas Story. No, that's not what that is.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie was in this movie. So what is the quote? Number 13.
Just her leg.
Number 13. Remember to put the number there. I can pretty much figure. If you didn't put the number, I know which one you're referring to here. But have you seen the movie? That one came out in the late 1960s. And so...
okay, but I think the question mark at the end kind of gives it away a little bit because, I always think of it as a
statement, Mrs. Robinson.
You're trying to seduce me.
I should have left
Are you trying to seduce me? Question mark.
Yeah.
He did that again.
Can I go now?
Can I go now?
Permission to go. Where's the bathroom? Mrs. Robinson.
How's Mel these days?
Yeah. So this is what gets quoted very often.
Are you trying to seduce me?
And I saw that in here. That's what a lot of people think is the line.
Mrs. Sicily, are you trying to seduce me?
It is Mrs. Robinson. Sorry.
Mama needs a new pair of shoes. Aren't you?
You're trying to seduce me, aren't you?
Well, agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Sorry. No, I think it should be Mrs. Sicily. Yeah. All right.
Guys.
All right. This one is from the French Revolution, which is why we have this Les Mis type of picture up here. But let them eat. We hear this one a lot. It's a historical quote, but it's used as a way of disparagingly talk about how authority looks down on people who are lesser. And it's a quote that we say over and over again. So number 14, what is the quote and which historical figure said it? I'll give you a moment on this one. Don't look it up on Google. I've said that before. Quit looking on Google. Just saying. Or Yahoo, or any of the, or Wikipedia. You can go on Wikipedia because we know that Wikipedia is a not impeachable source. It's always going to be spot on because it's on the internet.
Tuna. It's a good guess for cats.
Let them
anyway.
eat tuna, cat. That's, yeah.
Chocolate cake.
Let them eat cornbread, Marie Antoinette. Man, wouldn't it have been great if she had actually given
Guess
them
she
some
don't like
cornbread?
the cornbread.
We always say, let them eat cake by Marie Antoinette. Yeah. So this is what we typically, right? Let them eat cake, Marie Antoinette. Would it surprise you to find out that not only is cake not the food that was offered, but it wasn't even Marie Antoinette who said it?
Baguettes.
Let them eat baguettes. That would be a good guess.
Florentine
It was actually
brioche.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau said, and this was in an article he wrote, a writing that he presented several years before the French Revolution. That was actually he said he was quoting an unnamed princess. Now people say, well, that could have been Marie Antoinette. At the time this was written, she was a little girl. The time that Jean-Jacques Rousseau presented this, it likely, if it was truly attributed to a princess at all or someone in royalty, or it might have been just Jean-Jacques trying to stir up the masses, stir up the bourgeoisie to rise up. Look at he looks like he's gonna start some trouble here.
He's trying to stir some stuff up.
But it was brioche, and
nice wig though.
It's not a bad wig because it looks, you can almost see the roots there. That's not bad. All right, we have a little bonus one here. That's Casey from the Ninja Turtle movies.
It is. Oh my gosh, it is.
And they cut off her head because she was misquoted. Yeah, I think they cut off her head for a variety of reasons, but it gets attributed to that. She said that and it made them mad. There was a lot going on in that revolution. And the bottom line is, many people say the French Revolution was sparked because the French had watched what we had just gone through in the American Revolution.
And they spent a lot of money helping us out.
It's just our monarchy was across the ocean from us, and we weren't trying to overthrow the monarchy. We just wanted our independence. The French were like, we're tired of our monarchy. We want something different. So, all right, here's a little bonus thing. So this one is going to involve numbers and letters. These are religious quotes or literary quotes. You can look at it either way. And I want you to complete with the letters associated, complete each of these. So number 15 has an A, B, C, and D. And these are familiar quotes that some of which may or may not come from the Bible, but they often get associated with the Bible.
As the good book says.
As the good book says. And I won't name the children's pastor that my kids grew up with, but in one of the children's church settings, he actually quoted one of these and said, well, as the Bible says, and quoted one of these. I'm not going to repeat which one because I want you to figure out which, if any of these, actually comes from the Bible as well. So it might be none of them. It might be several of them. It might be one of them. But finish each of the quotes, 15A, B, C, and D, and then identify which one by letter, if you want, ones come from the Bible. And I'll give you a minute with that one. God moves in zoomies.
God helps those who helps cats. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Help themselves. Yes, mysterious ways. Okay. And because this one's a little more complex, I'm going to give you another minute or so. And we have gone long today, but that's okay because we're playing a fun game here. If you've been able to stick with us, I hope that. Okay, I see Corianne has helped themselves, mysterious ways next to godliness. You would do unto yourself, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Okay. Anybody else want to answer here? We're going to fill in the blanks and kind of deal with this one by one here. All right. So first, these are the quotes as we typically complete them. God helps those who help themselves. God moves in mysterious ways. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, those are our common answers.
Okay, God helps those who, that's not in the Bible, but that is just a quote we say. And I don't know who said it.
Okay, so let's look at each one. So God helps those who help themselves is not from the Bible.
But it was from the way it said.
That is the way it said. All of these most of these are the way they are actually said. There is an exception, I believe. Yeah. But Algernon Sidney, who was a 17th century English politician, was the one who actually quoted, God helps those who help themselves. Interesting, huh? Not
as
from the
Algernon Sidney
Algernon Sidney once
said.
Throw
that into the next conversation.
That's right. Can you
Sidney
in the words of that famous politician, Algernon Sidney from the 17th century, God moves in a mysterious way is the actual title and lyric from a 1774 hymn by William Cowper called God moves in a mysterious way. So it's not the plural. It's not God moves in mysterious
Singular.
ways.
Singular,
It's
mysterious
singular,
way.
and it's not from the Bible. It's from a hymn. So once again,
About
we
him.
kind of
It's in a hymn about him.
And then cleanliness is next to godliness was from a sermon by John Wesley.
All these
In
1700s.
I know these 1770s people, right? They
17th
were
century, 1700s.
Yeah. But that's, you can see why over the centuries these things have been attributed.
I think the last one is do unto others as unto your own body, or something like that. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So it actually is direct. Okay, because I quote that when I was like, oh no, I've been
you will
quoting
see
it wrong.
variations. You will see slight
The
variations
Bible.
depending on what version of the Bible you're using.
Right.
It might be worded slightly differently. And I think there is a version of this that's also in Matthew, but this is from the book
Sure.
of Luke in the New Testament. So that was kind of your bonus question right there. So I hope, not so much that we're keeping track of the points, but I hope you had fun with this. I know some of you did, because I'm looking at and again, just this is great. You guys had
Cleanliness is next to impossible.
Yeah.
Jerry, yes.
Yeah. I know I heard one comedian once say that, they said that cleanliness was next to clear and godliness was next to golf in the dictionary or something like that. So, got to take it all. I hope you had fun with this. But the other thing is, I think it's also kind of cool sometimes we think we know what we're talking about when we throw out certain quotes. Yeah, I got 100% wrong. Hey, the goal here was as much as anything else to just play and have fun with this. So that's what I hope you actually did, was to play and have fun. Hey, I want to be sensitive to the time we have left. So a couple of things I want to talk about before we go off the air late here. But we have that's the wrong slide. Let me come backwards here. Here we go. Next week, we're going to do one. This was pre-recorded conversation with my wife Carol and her best friend Jody Platt, and we're coming up in a week or so on one of our calendar days is Best Friends Day, and so I thought it would be appropriate to take a couple of best friends and have a little conversation with them and let them talk about friendship, talk about their own friendship, talk about how they view friendship and what makes a friendship solid and complete. And then in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks out, Alexis Cara, an actor, some people prefer not to say actress, but a performer who has performed in television and movies as well as stage on Broadway, etc., is going to be here to talk about breaking into show business, having a career in show business, but also life beyond that, trying to balance with just a life with other priorities and family and that type of thing. So Alexis will be here to talk about that on June 10th. And then June 17th, which is the weekend of Father's Day, I'm really looking forward to this because I'm going to be joined on the air by my siblings, Kathy, Carla, and Scott. I'm going to be on the air, and we're going to talk about our own dad and his story. And it really is an amazing story. It's not only his background in history growing up and what he and his family had to do to survive, literally, but his life going forward, his what he meant to us as a dad and what he still means to us. So you'll have the opportunity to watch that and be a part of that conversation. Talk about your own dads during that as well. What are the topics you'd like to discuss? Do you have any topics you'd like to discuss?
I often send you ideas of topics I would like to discuss, and then you say, let's talk about
Let's talk about those. And that's sometimes why you join me on the air, because sometimes it was your idea. And it's like, well, then you're going to be here to help me with it. If you have ideas for topics.
If I have to do it, you have to do it too, Chelan.
That's correct. If you have topic ideas or guest, I do want to catnip, I'll host. If you have topic, if you have, I love that idea. We'll talk about catnip and other addictions that our pets are struggling with. But if you have ideas or you have ideas for either a guest or a topic, you can email to let us know what those might be. And Chelan is not only an occasional co-host, but she is one of the producers on this show, along with Carissa, Carol, and Christopher and Dustin as well, part of the production team. So we all like to review these things and go with your idea. I'm just rambling now. Obviously I need more coffee or
Yeah.
something. So we're going to let everybody
Just
get on
some
with their
coffee.
weekend. But anything that we typically say at the end that you would like to be the one to say today?
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm gonna misquote it. Okay.
What?
Find a way to make a difference in your world this week. God
Please do
bless
that.
you.
Have a
God,
great week.
have a great week.
We'll see you next time.
The service starts now.
Bye, everybody.